Anthony Rose.
What up, Doe?
I'm still David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together we are Jalen Jacoby. What is it that we do?
We give the people what they want.
Jalen Rose, I would like to open the show after the Super Bowl with one simple question. One simple question I have not heard been asked to any analyst on any network thus far. Very simple question, and it is, where my homies?
Where they at? Where they at?
Where my homies?
Creeping through the hood.
Of course, we are here to celebrate Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Kelsey, and the rest of the Chiefs and their Super Bowl victory late last night. It was a slow start for the Chiefs, but man, did they turn it around with big plays like that one. Hill just camped out underneath it, waiting for it, and eventually, if you saw the game, you saw the comeback from down 10 in the fourth quarter, and the Chiefs eventually sealed the victory with this long run. Great block by the fullback. By Williams. Jalen Rose, what did the Chiefs show you last night in the Super Bowl?
What did KC show me? You really want to know what they showed me? You want to know what that guy right there holding the Lombardi trophy showed me?
Yes.
It is over for your people at the quarterback position. It is ours
That's how you're going to start the show.
It is all
That's
ours.
how you're going to start the show.
It is all ours. Y'all can have golf. Y'all can have hockey. Y'all can have NASCAR. Y'all can have the kickers. Y'all can have them. As long as Kyler Murray going #1 overall and Lamar Jackson is winning regular season MVP and Patrick Mahomes is winning Super Bowl MVP, it is ours now. It is ours.
Jalen, you obviously did not watch the national title game and the great season that Joe Burrow had, who I believe will be the #1 pick this year and will give us hope moving forward at the quarterback position. But seriously, everybody saw the game. Even my wife and my kids were watching the game. And if I were telling them, like, look, Patrick Mahomes, this guy's the most dynamic quarterback in the league, through the first 3 quarters, he really didn't look like it. And for him to turn around and do what he did, what did that show you about Mahomes as an athlete?
So the amazing thing about watching the Kansas City Chiefs play football, and I said this about the Ravens during the season, the Ravens were the only team that seemed to play all 4 downs. The Kansas City Chiefs are the team that gets touchdowns when everybody else is kicking field goals. And eventually, they're going to bite you. The first team that we've seen come from 10-point deficit in 3 consecutive playoff games to capture a Super Bowl. And then all of a sudden, they're down and scored 21 unanswered points the last 6 minutes or so of the game to win. And Patrick Mahomes showed me that he was fearless because the San Francisco defense was not playing horrible. But all of a sudden, a moment of truth happened. It's 3rd and 15. What are you going to do? And a 44-yard bomb to Tyreek Hill? How about the play where Sammy Watkins got the best of Richard Sherman? Those are the kind of plays that make Patrick Mahomes extra special. And so for the Kansas City Chiefs, if you're a fan of their squad, shout to Damian Williams. I talked about their run game and how it had to be better all year. For him to play the way he did, rush for over 100, catch a reception touchdown. Also, the weapons that are still going to be intact. We don't know what's going to happen with Sammy Watkins, but Mahomes and Hill will be back. Williams will be back. So will Kelsey. So will Hartman. What about on the other side? Tyrann Mathieu, Frank Clark, they'll be back. Andy Reid will be back. So the Kansas City Chiefs have a chance to create a dynastic situation if they can stay healthy.
They really do. And I'm glad you brought up Damian Williams because he was someone that wasn't exactly a household name at the start of the season, but really performed on the biggest stage on Sunday night in the Super Bowl. But I also want to point out another runner for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. Sure, he only had 29 yards, but he was getting first down after first down. His escapability, these options that they ran were something that the 49ers were just not ready for. Jalen, is his movement in the pocket and his movement, the way he moves with the ball, is that his greatest strength?
Actually, it isn't his greatest strength. I'm going to tell you his strengths in no particular order, but that's not the first one. First is his intellect. I appreciate just watching him dissect the field. It's almost like if you're in a doctor's office and you get a chance to watch them perform surgery. That's first. Second, his arm talent. Whether it's in the pocket or outside of the pocket, throwing at multiple angles, throwing it off the run. The play to Tyreek Hill, the bomb, was off of his back foot, Jacoby. Mm-hmm. That was like, that was just impressive. The next thing, Andy Reid, he's a genius at dialing up those plays. I know we fall in love with the new hot boy, whether it's Sean McVay or Shanahan, but Andy Reid's a seasoned vet. Lowry's, he's been doing this. And then the weapons that I just mentioned around him, okay? And then lastly, and this is why they're so great, his ability to escape and take a hit, because he did take a big one in the first half. And he stood over the defender, not the other way around. And then the next play or so ran it in for a touchdown on the option. That level of fearlessness, people feel that on the sideline, and they rally behind a quarterback like that.
So I'm glad you brought up Shanahan, because Shanahan he's coached himself a great year. I mean, I always say second place is a success. It is a success. And Shanahan, one thing he did is he dialed up these really interesting running plays. And their running game was such a big part of what they did. Yet in the Super Bowl, with the lead in the fourth quarter, if you follow Shanahan, you know you've heard this before. Why do you think he got away from the run, and how much of the loss is to blame for his play calling?
You know who my guy is on the 49ers besides Tevin Coleman in the backfield?
The man you call Mozart.
You see my guy Mozart? You see my guy? He scored a touchdown, okay? Also, their fullback caught a touchdown. Deebo Samuels is great on those sweeps, was getting yards. You know they average 6 per carry? Mm-hmm. This is a team that constantly ran the football all year, was in the Super Bowl getting 6 per carry. Let me see, who's calling the plays? Oh, Kyle Shanahan. Was he calling the plays when the Patriots came back from the deficit in the Super Bowl?
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So I'm thinking when you get the ball back in a crucial possession, you can't give it back to the Chiefs in 40 seconds. You can't do 3 pass plays and get them the ball back. Even if you're going to go 3 and out, you got to burn some of that clock. Mm-hmm. You showed me in the first half when you didn't call timeout in the second quarter that you ain't believe in Jimmy G. You showed us. And it's okay, because Lynch was like, call timeout. He's like, no, I'm good. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I am not putting the Legion of Zoom back out on the field. And the pass interference that was called on Kittle, we argued about that on this show. Because I think it was the Vikings playing against the Saints when I think it was Kyle Rudolph got away with a pass interference to catch a game-winning touchdown. And I said it was pass interference. In the Super Bowl, they calling that. More eyeballs. J-Lo watching. Shakira watching. They calling that. Now, your kids are watching. This is the biggest stage. And so that's why it frustrated me that they let it go. So for Shanahan, I believe it's always up to the players, if you put them in position to execute, to do so. And if I had to do a blame, I would say Jimmy Garoppolo gets the lion's share. You got to hit Emmanuel Sanders deep. You got to hit Emmanuel Sanders deep. You have to make that throw. That ain't on Shanahan. Getting balls batted down at the line of scrimmage, that ain't on Shanahan. Throwing 2 interceptions, especially the one in the first quarter, that was just a bad throw. Mm-hmm. That ain't on Shanahan. Missing Kittle doing the wrong read in the fourth quarter, that ain't on Shanahan. He's standing there next to his boss on the sideline like, watch this. Watch Sanders go deep. We got this. And boom, he overthrow him. So I know that it's easy to draw the parallels between how he called the games. And, yes, they should have milked more of the clock. But ultimately, Mahomes still was going to get out there and do special things.
Jalen, it is now time for Soft Move or Boss Move. the game last night that I've never seen before. Now, the Chiefs and Andy Reid like to dial up some unique plays, but this was just unnecessary. Jalen, watch this pre-snap choreographed spin dance move that they did to get a crucial first down in the goal line. Jalen Rose, choreography spins before the snap, soft move or boss move?
Well, anytime I can say Temptations, Four Tops, Spinners, New Edition, it has to be a boss move. And I'm so very disappointed in the mass media who called that an NSYNC move. Really?
Well, first of all,
Motown been doing that since the beginning of time.
Jalen, people are younger than you. I know it's you. I know it's just your birthday. I know you're getting older, but some people are younger than you. It's a more relatable reference. And when you say the mass media, you're talking about my Twitter feed. So let's just call it what it is. You're gonna come after me. You could say use my name. Use my name if you're coming after me because I called it an NSYNC move on Twitter, and I know you saw that. Too? Guilty as charged. It's a more relatable. It's a more relatable, relevant. It's a more relevant and relatable reference. God, man. Well, one thing that was definitely a boss move.
I didn't know that was you. And you know what? If that was you, you need to take that Beastie Boys picture down immediately.
No,
if that was
I will never do that.
You need to take that picture down immediately.
I will never do that.
And shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs for paying homage to our guys, the Beastie Boys, throughout their celebration. That made me happy.
Me as well. Jalen Rose, speaking of the celebration, Andy Reid discussed how he would be celebrating, and it was very Andy Reid. Let's check in with the Chiefs head coach.
Well, yeah, I mean, I joked about I'm going to have a double cheeseburger tonight with extra cheese. I'm going to enjoy it with my family and the team. That's what I'm going to do. You know, that's exciting.
Andy Reid, double cheeseburger with extra cheese. That's how he's going to celebrate the Super Bowl. Jalen, do you think he had anything else to, maybe water that down with?
That's definitely a boss move. Staying true to your character. That's what he's done as a coach. And a lot of times when the teams are up 7 points, 10 points, 14 points, that actually plays into Andy Reid's hands because he's a pass-happy coach. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, you give him a chance to keep looking at that board and looking at that board, and you see everything in yellow, you see everything in red, you see everything in blue, and he's just dialing up. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy for my guy, Eric Bieniemy, who I saw in college as a running back, who's done a terrific job of fostering Mahomes to the point where he could be a regular season MVP and a Super Bowl MVP. The second guy to do it under the age of 25 besides Tom Brady. They have something special going forward in Kansas City.
They really do. We also have something special going forward. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl again later, but before that, our guy, Adrian Wojnarowski, broke some news on Super Bowl Sunday that made me think about basketball for most of the day. We'll tell you exactly what that is right after this. Coming to you live from Pier 17 in the South Street Seaport and brought to you by Delicious Heineken. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Of course, we will discuss more from the Super Bowl soon, but our colleague, Adrian Wojnarowski, dropped a little information about the Rockets. We'll talk about that in a second, but we start with the game between the Rockets and the Pelicans. James Harden had what I consider to be the best game of his season. He had 40, 10, and 9 on 50% shooting from the floor. Jalen, efficiency has not been his strong suit, but especially this year and especially from three. Why is it so hard for him to be efficient this season?
We saw something yesterday that we don't normally see, not only in collegiate basketball, but in the NBA, where the two best players on both teams are left-handed. And for Harden playing against Zion and the Pelicans, what he was able to do, Jacoby, because he had been struggling the last 10 games. The team was 4-6. As you mentioned, he was struggling from the field. He didn't necessarily hunt three-point shots. He only shot the ones that were in rhythm. And there's a difference between being the best player and having the green light and gunning. And he didn't speed up his pace. If you notice the threes that he make between the legs, doing his thing, staying within his space, you give me a little room, step back, shoot the three. You up a little bit too close, finish at the basket. If he get fouled, go to the free throw line. If the defense collapse, I'll drop it out and get one of my 9 assists. So he was under control. That's what I saw. A great player that seemed to have the game slow down for him when he needed it.
Well, Daryl Morey, the general manager of the Rockets, is not afraid to make big moves, and Adrian Wojnarowski says that he wants to make another. The latest is that the Rockets are looking to move their center, Clint Capella. Now, Woj is reporting that if they were to do so, they would likely want to get some assets or draft picks to then trade those for a wing player because they need some help at the wing and perhaps another big to play center. Jalen Rose, you always focus on Capella when you say the success of the Rockets. Why do you think they'd be looking to move Capella, and what do you think they could get back for him?
Well, they don't feel like they can trust him in the big games. That's what that tells you. If you look at the landscape of the Western Conference and the gauntlet of teams they're going to have to go through, look at the bigs. The Lakers have Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, and JaVale McGee. The Clippers have Montrezl Harrell, who's been balling this year. They're going to be the first team probably to have 4 players average 19 or more. He's been terrific. The Utah Jazz, they have the Stifle Tower. Rudy Gobert gives them a defensive anchor and identity. The Nuggets have the Joker, who had a 30-point triple-double against my Pistons yesterday. So if you're the Rockets, you're like, we're not as good as those teams inside. So either we'll try to have Capella and beat them at their own game, and or strengthen our perimeter play and get a wing, because you still need people that's going to guard LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and Donovan Mitchell. You're still going to need guys that can do that as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can flip Capella, the player, and the $90 million contract with an injured heel before the trade deadline.
That's a good point. You know that Daryl Morey and the Rockets famously have a very numbers-based system, and I want to show you some numbers about Capella and his impact on the Rockets' win-loss. What does this tell you? I found this really interesting when I saw it. What does this tell you?
They're slower without him. They've realized that they're just going to play small ball. They have been the first team since the 1950s to play a lineup that doesn't feature anybody over 6'6", including against the Pelicans. So on paper, when you're watching it, you like, oh, Zion about to pound them. Favors about to pound them. And so what you end up doing is throwing the ball inside, and if your big doesn't go quick, or he doesn't necessarily have a signature move, or he doesn't catch the ball with 1 foot in the paint, he's taking 2 or 3 dribbles before he even gets a shot off. And then you can come double. And he still may miss the shot. Now, when they miss, you're out. And this is what has unlocked Russell Westbrook's game. He stopped shooting threes and basically became a West Coast version of Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
And small ball difference is the Sixers have Embiid and Horford to play minutes down low, and rightfully so. They're really skilled, they're really talented, especially Embiid, one of the best players in the entire league. The Rockets don't have that. So now all of a sudden you have driving lanes for a guy like Russell Westbrook to get to the paint, whereas sometimes Ben Simmons does not have that. So it just sounds like the Rockets are doubling down on their style of play, and we know how important that is to Mike D'Antoni.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Zion, because we've now seen Zion play, and he is for real. He's at this point averaging just about under 20 points, 19.5 in just over 26 minutes. Really good production. He had 21 and 10 against the Rockets. What have you seen from Zion now that we're sort of separated from his big debut fourth quarter game?
One of the best compliments I can pay Zion, and the last person I kind of remember saying this about was Shaq. He a bull in a china shop. That's what he is. Like, he's the third heaviest active player in the league behind Boban and Taco Fall, yet he can step out in his first game and make 4 threes, but then he could get out in transition and catch a lob from 60 feet from Lonzo Ball.
Yeah.
Like, Zion is a player that we have not seen. His height, his build, his skill, and as you know, I love his maturity, and I appreciate that as a really talented player, he doesn't always need the ball to make an impact. He'll have to get blocks, he'll get steals, he'll defend, and so I appreciate what he's done as a young player so very early in his career.
There's something happening in the National Basketball Association that really isn't being discussed enough. Dame Lillard is absolutely on fire. Dame Lillard, in his last 6 games, is averaging almost 50 points, 7 rebounds, and 10 assists in his last 6 games. Jalen, what is happening to Dame in Portland?
So, I want people to know that I intimately watch these games, and that's why it's always important for me to go deeper in the box score. Mm-hmm. And on NBA Countdown, prior to the Blazers playing against the Lakers, and I was at the Staples Center when the game happened, I realized that it's become cliche for a lot of people to say Anthony Davis is a top 5 player. I'm not saying he isn't a top 10 player. He is. But Dame Dollar has put himself ahead of AD on that list to me. Each year he's been in the league, his squad has made the playoffs. Stop me where I'm wrong in this comparison. Each year he's been in the league, his team has made the playoffs. So therefore, he didn't have to leave and go join somebody else to potentially get to the Western Conference Finals like the Blazers did last year. And when you watch them play, it's always somebody random making plays for them. Other than C.J. McCollum. They got Melo he wasn't even in the league for a year and a half. And he was starting for them. Well, okay?
Jalen.
Dame Dollar shot down the Oklahoma City Thunder and broke up their team. It broke up Russell Westbrook and Paul George.
I will just say this, Jalen Rose, is you make a great case. I know how much you love Dame. I know how much you love his commitment to the city of Portland and to the franchise of the Trailblazers. But what do I always say about the basketball court? There are 2 sides to it. So my case for AD over Dame would be AD does not get taken advantage of on the defensive end, whereas Dame sometimes does, and we've seen it in the playoffs. Jalen, when we come back, I'm going to say something about the Super Bowl last night that is not hyperbole. And you're going to disagree with me, and I'm so excited about it. Stay tuned to find out what that is. Wednesday night NBA action on ESPN. The Magic take on the Celtics in the first one. That is at 7:30, and then a huge game at 10 p.m. The Heat travel to L.A. to take on the Clippers. That one is at 10 p.m. on ESPN. And this weekend, UFC 247, Saturday night, not 1, but 2 title fights. That's on ESPN. The prelims start at 8. Main event starts at 10 o'clock. Make sure you tune into that. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, in huge games like the Super Bowl, there are certain moments, pivotal moments, that sort of change not just the momentum, but the fate of the game. Some of these you wanted to lay out for us. What do you think are some of the signature, pivotal, game-changing moments from last night's big game in Miami?
Second quarter. First and foremost, the 49ers chose not to call timeout. You saw Lynch in the suite, and he ended up on the sideline asking them to do so. And then all of a sudden, this bomb happens, and the officials call pass interference on Kittle.
Yep.
If they allow that catch to happen, the 49ers put more points on the board. That was a crucial call. We've seen that either called or not called throughout the season. It was something that was really inconsistent, almost as much as the challenges. And that had a huge effect on the outcome, in particular in the first half.
Yeah, watching that play with the naked eye, I did not think it was pass interference. When you slow it down, perhaps there's a case to be made, but I would not have thrown the flag if I was on the field. What other game-changing plays do you think happened last night?
Well, it's really Mahomes doing what he does. And anytime you're going to score 21 unanswered points in the fourth quarter, you got to show some crazy, not only arm talent, but the ability to throw guys open and guys that can make plays. So when I look down and it's 3rd and 15 and San Francisco's D on the other side, I'm like, they're in a good position to get the ball back. And then all of a sudden, Mahomes tells Andy Reid to let's run a play that we ran earlier in the game because I know the hill's going to be wide open. And guess what? He's wide open. And then look at this one. Sammy Watkins, one-on-one against Richard Sherman, getting off the line. That drop in the bucket, both of those were crucial in the fourth quarter for the Kansas City Chiefs comeback.
Mahomes was brilliant, but you do have to look at some of the plays that Jimmy Garoppolo made and said, you know what? If these would have gone a different way, the game would have gone a different way. Which ones are those?
David Jacoby. I'm going to throw something out there that people from this moment on are going to piggyback because it ain't going to be said before. I'm saying it right now. The San Francisco 49ers have a chance to get out of Jimmy Garoppolo's contract in April. If they believe that this is a Super Bowl-worthy team and they want to decide to part ways with him, why not consider a player, say, a Cam Newton? You're a run-heavy team. He's been an MVP. Yes.
Jalen,
talk to me. I can make
this even juicier. What team did Tom Brady root for when he was growing up? What area
he rooted for the
Tom
49ers.
Brady grew up in? Jalen.
The Bay Area.
Imagine that team quarterbacked by Tom Brady. I love this. Let's go all the way there.
No, because let me tell you something. If you were going in the next season and you had to pick between Cam Newton and Tom Brady and your job was on the line, you better go with the younger athletic guy. Not the guy's going to be 43 next year. And you know I love my guy from Michigan. So, again, let me get back to my theory now.
Okay.
Jimmy Garoppolo gets paid $120 million to play quarterback. And if you look at all of the teams that pay that type of money to their quarterback, usually they don't make it to the point that the 49ers did. You could get Cam at a time where he's at a moment of truth in his career. And all of the sophisticated runs they do, he'd be awesome in that offense. So now, let me go back to the play that happened. You're Kyle Shanahan. You dial up a play for Sanders to go deep. This ain't playing scared. This is believing in your quarterback that he's going to make a throw. This is why he gets paid the big bucks. He makes that throw. They take the lead. They take the lead. Then they have a chance, since they were averaging 6 yards per carry, to probably salt the game if they could slow down Mahomes. You just need one stop. You just need a stop. So that is a big decision for their squad. He had 2 interceptions in the game. One was a horrible throw, the one in the first quarter. He iced the game late. He bookended them with interceptions. He missed Kittle. He got a couple of balls deflected. Like, you have to consider it, especially to me, if you could add Cam Newton in particular.
Jalen, I love that. I love that analysis and information that you're bringing to the people, giving the people what they want. Jalen Rose, I'm going to say something right now that you're going to disagree with, that most people are going to disagree with. Last night featured the greatest Super Bowl halftime performance that I have ever seen. The greatest Super Bowl halftime performance I've ever seen. When Shakira did her thing, I was like, there's no way J-Lo can top that. But then J-Lo came out with the pole tricks. I mean, Jalen, this was easily the most entertaining, visually stunning, and somewhat arousing halftime that I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
Very talented individuals taking the stage. Yes. J-Lo, I'm a huge fan of hers. Shakira, went to go see her at MSG and actually saw Al Horford there. Okay. I'm a huge fan of both of them. It fit the Miami theme to a T. They did an amazing job. I'm glad that J-Lo got a chance to get her daughter involved on the big stage and give her some shine. That was great. But something happened. The sky parted just a little bit yesterday that made me happy, Jacoby. I seen the clouds just part. A couple of reasons why.
Why?
Number one, Jennifer Lopez was on the stage with a stripper pole. Now, when I saw their performances and their outfits, if I had Janet Jackson's number, I would have called her because she had to crawl for them to walk to do this performance. Number one. Number two, can we stop acting like we do this in this country with medicinal marijuana? We act like it's so bad and it's so taboo. Can we stop acting like adult entertainment for grown-ups is a taboo or a bad thing?
Please.
When you're sitting there watching the Super Bowl with your small kids, did Margot say what kind of poll is that?
Tommy, take us to break.
Did Chloe ask you about the poll?
Take us to break. Take us to break.
Did Chloe and Margot ask you about the poll?
Right now. PM Sports Center will feature a brand new interview with the Super Bowl MVP, Patrick Mahomes. I always like to see the MVP after they've been out all night celebrating. And they're going to talk about three of the top 10 teams in men's basketball in action in the NCAA. And they'll preview the big Sixers-Heat game in the Eastern Conference. Tune in to Sports Center 6 p.m. tonight. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, we have an entire segment dedicated for you to talk about whatever you want. It is called Keep It Moving. If you would like to discuss the subject, say hit the brakes. If not, me or Method Man jump in the minivan and keep it moving. Are you ready, Mr. Rose?
Let's get it.
First, I have bad news for the Brooklyn Nets. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
Okay, Kyrie Irving hurt his knee again. He is out for at least a week. Jalen, what do you think about Irving's health?
I think he's very lucky that was not worse. Usually when somebody falls like that, you fall straight back over your knee, and then you have a chance to really injure yourself seriously. Since he got a chance and he's young enough and he's athletic enough, and it just was really fortunate how he fell somewhat to the side, that was the difference between him really tearing up his knee versus being out at least a week.
Great point, Mr. Rose. Jalen, I saw something on a basketball court I don't think I've ever seen before. Keep moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes.
Let's check in with Houston's Dejan Jarreau. A day. Look at this. That's Dejan right there going for the loose ball. Now, the Houston coach said that there's no chance that my man bit his opponent player, but he definitely bit him, and he was ejected. Jalen Rose, have you ever seen anyone resort to biting on the basketball court?
Not on the basketball court, but I was at the Mike Tyson fight when he bit Evander Holyfield's ear. That was a lot, and he spit the piece out too. Imagine being in the ring at Evander Holyfield, you looking for a piece of your ear with blood everywhere. So
listen, is it crazier to bite it?
It's fine.
Is it crazier to bite it and spit it out, or to bite it, chew it up, and eat it? I'm gonna say bite it, chew it up, and eat it is worse. Like, spitting it out looks crazier, but just staring somebody in the eye and chewing up their ear and swallowing it right in front of them, that's how you really intimidate your opponent, Mike Tyson. Yeah, get back to that. Jalen, if you hit the brakes on this, I'll be so mad. Antonio Brown is back in the news.
Shout to Josina Anderson scoring a big interview, but this is the day after the Super Bowl. We'll keep it moving for now.
Keep it moving, Method Man.
We keep it moving.
I have news regarding Tua and the Lions. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
There's been a Miami Herald report that Tua does not want to play for the Detroit Lions and This has since been refuted by his agent. But Jalen Rose, could you really blame Tua if he didn't want to play for the Lions? Could you really blame Tua if he didn't want to go to Detroit and get his back all messed up like Matt Stafford's?
He's a lefty. He has amazing potential. I saw this guy come in a national championship game after halftime and throw bomb to win the game to another freshman. Ice water in his veins. Kyler went #1 overall, won Offensive Rookie of the Year. I really think it should have went to Jacobs with the Raiders. Tua, come to Detroit. The 313, the 248, the 810, the 734. We will embrace you like no other. We will build a squad around you like no other. Come and be our franchise quarterback. Tell your agents, tell the Lions, you don't want to do nothing but play in Detroit.
Okay, Jalen. First of all, this report was from the Miami Herald. And another thing it didn't mention, it also said that he did want to play for the Dolphins. So there might be some home cooking when it comes to these sources and who they're talking to and what they're saying. But I will say this. I don't care if Tua wants to come or not. I'm going to pick him at the 3rd spot regardless. Like, you can't walk me off of that. So regardless of whether you want to come here, you are coming here. Jalen, finally, we have an update on the class that they're offering at Berkeley about adulting.
Hit the brakes.
Jalen Rose. So usually classes are like math and social studies and English and calculus, but Berkeley offers the adulting course, and they've had to turn away applicant after applicant because they want to take this course, which basically teaches basic human existence, lessons. Jalen, you have a young daughter in college. Would you rather her take a calculus course or an adulting course? What do you think would be more beneficial for her education?
An adulting course, and then take the calculus course afterwards. Because here's the deal. Life skills are the most important thing to teach young people. I say this about athletes in particular in college. They should be able to major in jobs that we see featured in sports, whether it's medicine, whether it's management, whether it's financial advising. The same exact thing goes for the adulting classes, teaching people time management, how to pay their bills, how to manage their money. I'm so into the life skills portion. This is a great job by UC Berkeley, and I think the idea is going to carry throughout the country.
I rarely say this, but I completely agree. Jalen Rose, you spent the weekend in Los Angeles covering the Lakers in the wake of the tragic death of Kobe Bryant. You'll give us a little perspective on that right after this. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, obviously the Super Bowl sort of dominated the world of sports this weekend, but you were not in Miami. You were in Los Angeles covering the Lakers and the wake of the tragic death of Kobe Bryant. What was it like to be in that city? What did you see? What did you feel from the people of Los Angeles?
I'm really still having a tough time, like basically all of us are, of processing that we lost Kobe Bryant at 41 years of age, and his daughter Gigi, as well as the other 7 passengers on the helicopter. It's really devastating. And it gave me so many opportunities to reflect on why Kobe was a magnet for so many people across the world. And I keep going back to the Mamba mentality and how he was dedicated to his destiny. There's so many times we say that we want something and we assume that if we have faith, it's going to happen, or if we wait, it can take place. Kobe was a go-getter. He was going to make it happen. Failure was not an option, and everybody can relate to that. And also the family dynamics of losing a father, losing a husband, losing a sister, losing a daughter. So very tragically, I think that's something that hit home for all of us. And I believe this will be the most unfortunate death of an icon in my lifetime. I can't recall something like this. Like clearly, I don't want to compare tragedies, but
No.
This is gonna hurt so many for a long time, including myself.
And you've been linked to Kobe Bryant through various instances in history. I mean, most famously the 81-point game. You also played each other in the finals. What are those experiences like, looking back on them with this perspective, knowing that he's no longer with us?
Well, it makes me realize that continue to stress the game of life over sports and accolades, because I'm pretty sure he would trade all of that to spend more time with his wife and his kids. So it continues to keep you humble. And I'm going to do my best as a voice, as a media personality, as somebody that lived in L.A., somebody that covered him his entire career, somebody that played against him, to maintain and hold down his legacy the best I can. And that was his coming out party in the NBA Finals when he told everybody to calm down. I got this.
Well, Jalen, this is obviously a very, very sad thing to discuss, but one thing we want to present to the people is just a little bit of levity in the wake of Kobe Bryant's death. And this is a piece that was a part of your pilot, which will one day be a series, Jalen versus Everybody. Let's check in with Jalen and Kobe Bryant in Jalen versus Everybody.
Jalen!
Oh, no. Hey, Cole, how you doing? How retirement treating you?
It's great, man. It's great. Just, a little writing, a little investing.
Nice. So I don't know if you saw the thing on Twitter about your statue.
I don't pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah, I figured that. Me either.
A drink, Mr. Bryant?
Yeah, I'll have a vodka martini.
How many olives would you like?
81.
Really?
Nah, man, I'm just playing. Just 2. Joke for him. He gets it.
Writing and investing. Those aren't things that you normally hear former athletes say. That's what made Kobe Bryant a unicorn in a lot of ways and a special man, and rest in peace.
We'll be back tomorrow, ESPN 2 at 2. Make sure you listen to our podcast as well.